My name is Robert Warrington Rollisson, full name, but I don't use the Warrington, I just use it as a W. And I got the award from the Queen's Birthday Honours List, the British Empire Medal, for services to fishing and general social work in the town. And that was through the years of fishing. But the first time I went down onto the harbour was with my father at 6 years old on the rowing boats, and started on the rowing boats in those days when people wanted a rowing boat to take out, which was the safest harbour anywhere in England with rowing boats, and there was up to 100 rowing boats before the war. So anyway, my father with two of the men was fishing the cobble that is in the harbour that changed back to the Three Brothers to the sail. I was in that one with them when the first German plane came over the Flamborough Head, and I was still at school, and it circled round us once and then went off to bomb or fire at a convoy. But in the meantime, my father said, "Oh, well, if he comes round again, you rush to one side of the engine," which was the only protection, more or less, on an open cobble. And the skipper at the back was, "It doesn't matter which side of the engine goes, if he fires us on," he says, "we're all bloody gunners." So anyway, that was my first introduction into actual fishing. And then when I got old enough, I left school and I had chance of a job on one of the boats, so I took it. And that was on a small cobble called Hillary. And I was in that for 3 years, fishing, crabbing, lobstering, trawling, small trawl in the bait. And then I used to help bait in the warehouses on the bigger keel boats for line fishing. And then so many years in the cobble, and I had a chance to go on this keel boat called Osprey, which was fishing out of Grimsby. I got a chance of not to go to the 2-year services because I was essential fisheries, so I didn't go actually to be called up. And then I was in this keel boat for 6 years, and in them days we had seasons, which 4 seasons there was. There was line fishing from September into April, end of March, April, and then you had the crabs and the lobsters that come out in the springtime until end of July. Some vessels went after dogfish out to Grimsby, and then others, there was half a dozen that went to the herring fishing, with the drift net herring fishing, which the Scotchmen came down as soon as the war was over, and we found out that they were catching plenty of herring and how to do it, and so some of our boats turned to it. So we did that. I did that for 3 years for the drift net fishing, and then the Scotchmen came down again with a new type of fishing with 2 boats called ring net fishing, and he used to circle the fish and draw the bottom up and cause like a big bag, and that was an easier way than with the drift nets when you used to pull all those aboard with hand. It was a lovely sight to see, all the shimmering herring in the nets, but it was a lot easier with this ring net fishery. And then I did that for the 3 years, and then it came that bad stormy winter in '53, and that lasted weeks on end, and that's when all the floods all down the Lincolnshire coast was. And even one of our cobbles that was on the harbour top pulled up, it floated off with the high tides, and that wasn't found until 3 years later when we come back from Africa, and we were trawling in the bay in this cobble that we'd bought called Nancy, and found it when we pulled some of it up off the bottom. and we finally found it had gone off out of the harbour right to the Smithick Sands, was roughly 2.5 miles from the piers, and it had sunk itself down with the sea, big heavy seas. So anyway, we earned enough money to buy this cobble called Nancy, which I'd known the two people that had it from Flamborough, the Stoke brothers, and I got to know one of them had died and the other one wanted to sell, and my mate George Crawford, who I'd first gone to sea with in this little boat called Hillary, he said he was going home. He'd got divorced from his first wife and found someone else and wanted to come back to Bridlington to live. So we all came back together, and first started with the ownership of a boat, and that was the Cobble Nancy.